Chapter 4. The beautiful little town of Weimar was awake for the day as Edward slowly made his way through the avenue of trees, their fresh green leaves forming an archway over his head. He was on his way to the home of the composer, Franz Liszt, the greatest pianist in the world. Turning the corner, he came to a garden where two young men sat talking merrily together. Suddenly, sounds of music came from a house nearby. "Come, we must go in, Delbert. The master is beginning to play," said one young man to his companion. The master! Then this must be the home of Franz Liszt, thought Edward, and quickly stole to a bench near the house where he would be sure to hear. Soon all the air about him was filled with singing melody, and Edward listened to such music as he had never heard before. No one but the greatest pianist of all could play like this. When the music stopped, Edward quickly left the bench. He must go away at once before anyone would discover him, for he could never show his music to such a master. As he started down the pathway, a voice called through the garden, "Young man, did you come to see me?" Edward turned quickly, and there was Franz Liszt standing in the doorway. He went slowly back along the pathway to the kindly figure with long white hair and black monk's robe. The master held out his hand and smiled. "And you have brought some music for me to see?" "My teacher, Joachim Raff, thought that you would like to hear a composition that I have just written," answered Edward. "I would be glad indeed to hear it. Young students are always welcome at the home of Franz Liszt." He quietly took the music, and opening it, read the carefully written lines, "To the master Franz Liszt, from the composer Edward MacDowell." "Ah, young man, you do me honor," said Liszt, "and now we shall hear this music that you have written." And he led the way to a large sunny room on the garden where young musicians sat waiting for the master. "Come, Delbert, you shall help to play a new work of this young composer here. You, MacDowell, will be the first piano, and Delbert at the second." To play for such a master! Edward opened the music to the first page and nodded to Delbert. The music began, and as the suite went on, Liszt smiled and nodded his head, and when it was finished, he turned to his students. "Young men, you have been listening to a very beautiful suite, played by a brilliant young pianist. You, Delbert, had better take heed, lest he go far beyond you." Edward listened joyfully as the master went on in a low, quiet voice. "Edward MacDowell, there is soon to be a festival in the city of Zurich, where noted musicians will gather together to play for large audiences of people. I now invite you to be one of those pianists, to play your music for everyone to hear." Edward was overjoyed at the master's words, and started back to Frankfurt happier than he had ever been. Surely this must be a dream. But in the weeks that went swiftly by, everything came true. After he had played his piano suite for the audience in Zurich, and had left the stage for the last time with the applause ringing in his ears, he found a stranger waiting to tell him that he would like to buy his music and make printed copies so that everyone might play it. "Oh, sir, I am happy indeed to hear your good news," exclaimed Edward. "I did not think that anyone would ever care to play anything that I had written." His pupil, Marion Nevins, now a fine pianist, was delighted to see the first copies of the suite, and played the music with her teacher. "How beautiful it is!" she exclaimed when they had finished. "You must write many more pieces, and when I return, perhaps more of your music will be published and ready for me to play." "Then you are going away?" asked Edward quickly. "It is time for me to go home for a little visit, for I have been away from my country for 3 long years, working hard at my music." As the months went by, Edward too began to think more about America, and soon he was on his way across the ocean. How happy he was to dock in the New York harbor and visit with dear Mother and Father MacDowell after so long a time away. He went to see Marion Nevins, and before long they were married. Joyously they boarded a steamer again and set sail for London, where they soon would make their home. One evening they stood at the side of the ship and looked out over the quiet ocean that shone like silver in the moonlight. "When we are settled in our little house in London, you must do nothing but write music all day long," said Marian quietly. Edward smiled. "Nothing would please me better. But how would we live? I must give lessons at once, so that we will have food and shelter." "I have thought of that," said Marian eagerly. "See, here is a little sum of money that I have carefully saved." And she took a small purse of gold pieces from her pocket and put it into Edward's hands. "We will use it to live while you write your music." "No, no, Marian, that would never do." "But it could never be used in a better way, Edward." When they arrived in London, they found 2 small rooms on a quiet street where they could live for very little. Now Edward began to write his compositions, and far into the night he worked, until he had finished 2 lovely duets that he called Hamlet and Ophelia. "The music is finished, Marian. Come, you must go over it with me," called Edward, opening the small piano to play parts of these beautiful duets that you too will surely want to hear.